I think you're ready to go. I am happy to have you, Xavier. And for people who don't know you, maybe you can give us a short intro and then I will start asking questions and we will dive deeper into the person you are today and how that all came together.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. Very quick background about me and who I am. I'm Xavier. Of course, I grew up in China, came to US around 2014, and I'm co-founder of Embody. We started the company about a year and a half ago, and before that, I worked at Google for a little bit over 4 years. I was the tech lead of the Google Public DNS team, where we were managing the whole world's internet traffic, minimizing latency, protecting it, stuff like that. And now we're building AI for robots, basically AI software that can be plugged in any type of robots, enabling anyone to just talk to them, to teach them stuff, and they can run in production.
Robotics is my favorite topic. I have people here on the podcast that
Mhm.
mainly are out of robotics and AI.
Yep.
And
Hmm.
I have a background in manufacturing. So
Yep.
robots and manufacturing right now, robots always have been part of manufacturing world or as long as I can remember. But the brain, the software is so important,
Hmm.
right? And
Yes.
there's a lot that we need to still figure it out. We come to
Hmm.
this topic later on, so I'm happy to explore what you guys are doing, what you guys are building. But
Absolutely.
first, I really would like to get a bit more of the background story and starting as early as you like. And yeah, then I will every now and then I will ask a question to guide you in the directions that I think are interesting or that are interesting for me. And yeah,
Okay. All right. Then I'll backtrack all the way back to where I grew up. I grew up in Northeast China. It's a city called Shenyang and very cold place in Northeast. Fairly cold. It's actually like usually in the winter, it gets to minus like 20, or worse than that for a whole month Celsius. Celsius. And yes, that's where I grew up. I kind of like winter always my whole life compared to summer. And I came to US around 2014 and went to school in Midwest, Illinois, actually, UIUC. And which is also cold and that I really enjoy. Yeah. Yeah,
the,
and
the,
study computer engineering there. Yes,
um, if you don't mind me asking
yes,
two or three more questions about the growing up because 2014
yes.
is you're already a bit older than being a kid. For me, it's always
Hmm.
this time being a kid is always interesting.
Yes.
As and people who are listening to this podcast more than once know this
Hmm.
is. How is upbringing? Is it computer science is something that comes natural to you these days, right? You've been in it for quite a while,
Yeah.
but it's from all the things that you could do is not necessarily the one that is very natural, right? When you
Hmm.
grow up, you would like to be a firefighter or you would like to be a cowboy or whatever, right? An artist or doing music.
Yes.
So how is it for you, and why do you end up going
Yeah.
for computer science?
I would say two things. So first, I always love music. Well, growing up, I wanted to be a musician, a singer. I am quite good at it actually, and I've been practicing and trained, uh, to a certain degree, not super professionally, but to a certain degree. And the other thing is, always very excited, or I love computers. When I like growing up, and I think it's funny like when I around the time in high school I was thinking about what should I study, what kind of career should I pursue, and a couple of things came up to my mind. First is music, and second is well actually around that time it was more electrical engineering than computer science. uh, but while thinking about it, I want to come to the United States, and US is cool. I always wanted to come to US, and while studying engineering, it's a natural, I would say, a natural selection, especially if I'm an immigrant. And
So,
yep,
so
yes.
is that because of the kind of knowing or the certainty that is around STEM degrees. So
Yes.
there is a certain way or ladder. The path is pretty clear, and there's stable income that comes with it. There's a certain potential that comes with it, right?
Hmm.
Going in different kind of companies. Is that because you said naturally?
Actually, yes. Well, I want to stay in US and I like it here. So STEM is definitely a natural choice compared to others. Yeah.
And but was it natural for you in terms of because it's quite um, difficult, right? If
Hmm.
you compare, not necessarily people would
Yeah.
argue now, but
Hmm.
the majority of people who pursue this kind of engineering degrees, they have a background in, or they're pretty good in math, in physics, and these kind of
Yes.
things. Is
Hmm.
that the case with you?
Yep, I would say so. Yes. I'm in general quite good at it, and I've been uh, playing with computers and stuff since I was very, very young. I was probably among the first wave of Chinese like interacting with a computer when I was like 2 or 3 years old because my dad worked at Hewlett Packard around that time uh, in China. Uh, so yeah, I've been always fascinated by computers.
And did he brought work to home in terms of discussions, ideas sharing, um, like educating in an explanatory way, right? This is how things are
Yes,
working.
actually a lot. He told me a lot about computer, how like what it's composed of, how it works in like a understandable way. Since I grew up, and I'm fascinated.
Yeah, because I'm trying to, one of the reasons why I have this podcast is really to trying to understand
Hmm.
what is making, what are the ingredients for to
Yes.
become a founder, right? And
Hmm.
especially in the deep tech niche that we are
Yes.
in,
Hmm.
this is one of the components, but one of the other ones is curiosity,
Yes.
caring, and encouraging.
Hmm.
Is that something that is like not only like you said he was explaining things to you, but did you try to
Hmm.
discover things and build things together? Was that something that also happened?
Building together, not much because he was too busy to do that with me around
Mm.
the time.
Hmm.
But we definitely like spend a lot of time exploring things. That for sure. And speaking of founder, I would say it's not just like the interest in say like computers and like technology. It's That's just one part of it. The other part is to seize opportunities and find out what we can make a business out of. That would be another part of it, and which is also I figured out I was quite good at since I grew up.
And I had someone, I need to remember who it was. He said
Yeah.
that one of the incentives was to finance stuff that I like. Like I wanted to have a bicycle, a mountain bike, or I wanted to
Hmm.
have video games. So
Yeah.
I became an entrepreneur in a very simple way. So
Hmm.
starting delivering newspapers and magazines,
Hmm.
like a paper boy, very young, early on, and or
Yeah.
selling some stuff or buying some stuff and selling on the internet on eBay because
Hmm.
I wanted to finance myself. So this is one of the reasons why someone could become an entrepreneur. Other ones is my father was an entrepreneur or my family
Hmm.
is full of entrepreneurs. How was that for you? Because I think we covered the engineering part of it. That
Hmm.
is quite clear. And when you said
Yeah.
that you like this, why is that?
It's a couple of factors. The first, my dad was an entrepreneur. Well, later on, my dad stopped working at Hewlett Packard and started his own company. And although
Mm.
it's not like huge, but it's decent. And I, growing up, I read a lot of books around like entrepreneurship and everything. I always wanted to do this. And in general, I'm the type of person that's willing to take risks and especially do stuff that I haven't done before. I really enjoy doing that, even if those are very hard. And yeah, that's one factor. And another factor is, like I mentioned, growing up, I kind of, it's funny, like since elementary school, I've been finding ways to make money, small businesses and stuff. It actually, every time I do that, it's quite successful. So, uh, Yes, and everything combined. That would I would say that's kind of multiple factors, not a single one factor.
Just last week, I've been to, I don't know how they call this in English, but so it's a place
Hmm.
where you can go swimming, but it's not a simple swimming pool. It's a place where kids can play. There's a slide, and there's plenty of things where kids can be entertained, right? So I have a little one, and she was standing
Yeah.
on the edge of it. I was in the water, and I encouraged her to
Hmm.
jump into my arms, right?
Yeah.
So there's a certain risk, and I could see in her face I needed to
Yes.
reduce the risk and tell her like jump, I will catch you, right? And
Hmm.
when you said that risk is something that you enjoy or that you are being able to take
Hmm.
risk,
Yeah.
um, not every entrepreneur necessarily is someone who likes to take risks. Those who do fail more often, but there's a higher up. How do you say this in English?
Hmm.
Upside of it, right?
Yeah.
Uh, so where do you think this risk taking part comes, and how can I nurture it?
I mean, I think it's kind of it goes down to I would say it goes all the way down to gene. It's genetic. Like there are people with certain personalities and
True.
they are born that way and that's like what they are. If someone's not a risk taker, you cannot force them to become a risk taker. Although you can change it or like manipulate it a little bit, but it's intrinsic to people. That's my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, no, I think the extremes are definitely something that is, I also think, I think like this. But I do hope and think that we can encourage, because for example, the difference between the US and Europe is,
Hmm.
especially Germany. So you have
Yes.
over decades people in engineering,
Hmm.
so they're trained engineers, right? And I think I'm repeating myself here. Um,
Yep.
um, you don't want the car to fail. You don't want the train to fail. You don't want
Hmm.
the plane or the bridge to fail, right?
Hmm.
So you train the engineer to be risk aversive. So the things needs to work, right? We're not talking about 99%, we're talking about the 99.999%, right?
Hmm. Yep.
So over decades, you trained them and you make improvements on an incremental small way, right? Because you have a
Hmm.
working system. So you're not changing the entire system because it works, right?
Yes.
But on the other side, and I said this very often here on the podcast too, this is one of the downsides of innovation this kind of culture for innovation.
Exactly.
It's
Exactly.
because you're preventing everything because you don't want to touch the system because it works, right?
Yep.
And when I talk to American entrepreneurs or people from the US, there is more the what can I do with it part versus why are all the reasons why it can't do XYZ, right? Because this is
Hmm.
what I expect. And I really trying to understand this because you said so there's a this is the gene, right? This is within your DNA. But I
Hmm.
hope and believe that it's a cultural thing, right? If you see a lot of people around you taking risks, then it's
Hmm.
not so crazy anymore. It's normal, right? So
Yeah.
it's normal. So this is the reason why people say if you would like to like they have this big visionary ideas, go to San Francisco, go to the Valley, or go to New York, or
Hmm.
to those places because there's a lot of these people that feel like this, right? Would you agree? So,
I will agree to a certain degree. Yes. It's I would say it's actually kind of a combination of both.
mm,
So you have to be a person that's willing to take a risk, and you're in that environment. Then boom.
mm.
Yeah. But anyway, I would say genetic is uh more significant than like culture. That's just my take. Because I'm a huge I'm a guy that like believe in uh like genetic stuff like a lot.
I think I take the other side, not only
Hmm.
because it makes the conversation more interesting. It's because
Yes.
I strongly disbelieve that the majority of people who achieved a lot of things,
Hmm.
and not the top peak people, I think there's the
Yeah.
combination of environment and genetics. But I think
Hmm.
for the mediocre majority part of it, I think it's
Yeah.
environment. Because I think if
Yeah.
you take the same person and bring him in an environment where there's a lot of doctors and engineers and entrepreneurs, you most likely will end up as an engineer, a doctor, or an entrepreneur. Versus if you're among working people, the
Hmm.
chances are pretty high, I guess, even with the right genetics, that you become a working class person, right? So
Yeah.
there's a reason why I think for the top people, same in sports, There's
Hmm.
talent, but combination of work ethic and talent brings you further than just work ethic or just talent, right?
Yeah.
Anyways,
Yeah.
thanks for giving your thoughts on that one. So
Hmm.
deciding to study computer science and going to the US, how was that from and coming back to the same word, a different meaning here, to the cultural changes of coming from China and going to the US? How was
It
that for you?
it was quite a culture shock for me around the time when I was 18. It's completely new environment, completely different people and language. And my English was not that great around the time when I first got here, and it was quite a culture shock. But over time, it gets better. I would say after the first half of the first semester in college, yeah, I like it. I love it.
Pretty fast.
Yes.
And and so you said computer science. Did you Was there hesitation, or was that no? It's clear. It's going to be this one because you said
Actually, I
uh,
studied electrical engineering around the time when I first got here, and then I realized computer science will be way bigger than electrical engineering, in a way because um, if you look at history, maybe not history, if you look at the stack, the layer of technology, the layer on top, the higher up as they go in the layers, the more potential they've got, especially on the business side. It'll be and the market. So also partly because of anti-Moore's law, partly because just the nature of it. So I think computer science is going to be bigger than electrical engineering, and then I switched to computer science. Actually,
mhm,
computer engineering around the time. It's the same thing, but
mm.
yeah.
the so this was a tactical decision.
Yes, it's a technical decision. I evaluated the chance of like being successful in some different kind of realm, and then I switched. And also, like I'm always like I personally love coding better than doing math and doing the circuit stuff. So
Mm,
yeah, that's also part of the reason.
interesting, and,
Yeah.
and I really like the way that you said that this is
Hmm.
because some people are afraid of changing or switching because it seems like is this a failure or should I change or the risk that comes with it. But as you said, risk is something that you seek, that comes natural to you, or that you
Yeah.
have a different perception of it. Um, like going through university, how is that for connecting with people, getting into different kind of groups and projects? Was there something that was yeah, available to you? Was it something that you needed to push yourself to get into? I don't know what kind of person you are. I'm trying to
Oh
understand.
yeah, around that time it's funny. I didn't study at all for the first 2 years or 2.5 years. I played Dota 2 like a lot and failed a lot of courses around that time. And then it's funny, and then I like later on I realized that's not great for me. I could so yeah, around like the third year of college, then I study and do stuff. Yeah,
Mm.
it's a funny story.
And did you, like I said, did you got into projects with other ones and like really understood? Oh, okay, I need to step up my game to keep up with those.
A couple of things. First is like I after I graduate, I need to find a job. If I kept like playing game that way, I cannot find a job. That's one part. And the second part is because I'm an immigrant, I have to find a job to stay here. Otherwise, I'm out. I'm out of here. And a second part is I want to do something like useful, meaningful. And actually, I in one of my senior project, we built a robot from scratch. A robot that's able to draw. Uh, Basically, a drawing robot. It's a fun product.
Uh, I like that that you and is that something that all came from within, or as you said earlier on, a combination of of more things? Because the intrinsic motivation to become better throughout the
Hmm.
realization of I need to find a job,
Hmm.
and or was it something that some people inspired you, or you talked with your parents or friends? How did this kind of realization came to you?
It just came, I think it came to me like in intrinsically, so in an intrinsic way. So I just realized that uh, what I've like, it's not the best way, I would say around the time.
Mm. Maybe it's the best way because if somebody else is trying to teach you or to tell you
Hmm.
something, you might have not understood the importance of it, right? So this is the
Yeah.
reason why I'm asking, was there a specific moment, was there a couple of
Hmm.
incidents that you know push the trigger or switch the whatever how do you call it in English to make you realize that this is going to happen, right? If I continue playing video games, then I will
Hmm.
not finishing, I will not graduate, or if I will graduate, but I will not find a job. I really like to understand. I mean, if you say it was just coming to you, it's fine. But I know throughout the podcast, sometimes I had people that said I had a
Hmm.
talk with a good friend, and he went on to do X, Y, Z, and I realized I can't do this because of my grades. So I needed to push up my grades to be able to join this guy and do the same kind of things, right? So I was seeking for this kind of moments or realizations.
Yeah, I'm trying to actually recall what happened around that time, but I couldn't really like remember. It just like came to me naturally over a period of time.
Mm. I
Yeah.
mean, it's good that it happened, right? Because
Yeah.
there's so many, as you said, missed opportunities would have happened. Finishing university normally, as you said, would bring you to a job. So maybe
Hmm.
we can go further with the story, and you can tell me how the things that you guys are doing today, how
Yeah.
all this came together, or was there an episode or episodes in between?
So, okay. I worked at Google. I came to New York and worked at Google New York for a little bit. And Google is great. It's a definitely a top place to work with big benefits and everything. But I felt like I was wasting a lot of my time and life there because it's although what we're doing is quite significant to the world, but it's not that interesting or like I it's a bit boring to me, and I don't want to waste my life like that. So I always wanted to start a company, and we around like earlier last year, I think we reached an inflection point where we can see a lot of things can be different, especially in robotics, since I've been interested in robotics for a long time. And my co-founder is also like from the robotics space. We met at Google, we're teammates. So that was the moment.
And I just talked, I think it was a Monday, to
Hmm.
two founders that worked for Amazon and
Yep.
have been there for quite a while.
Hmm.
And they were in a situation where, I mean,
Yep.
good teams, great projects, good money and benefits, but there was something missing. So they were
Hmm.
their their own idea giver to what they're doing today. So
Yep.
there was a need, there was a problem, and no real solution out there. So this
Hmm.
was one of the reasons why they got into thinking,
Hmm.
if no one's out there, we can't be the only ones doing this, and we can't be the only ones who thinks there's no good solution out there. So what did you, especially as you said, you have a teammate or one of your
Hmm.
teammates now is your co-founder. So
Yep.
how this came together? I'm always interested in this kind of struggling phases and chaotic times, or as you said, maybe some boring times or flat times
Hmm.
that give you the room to do something else.
I would say, okay, so around the time in Google, it was boring, and my co-founder actually has been like experimenting with robotic stuff for a while, and we like chat all the time about the uh, the robotic space and everything. And we are kind of both of us are quite frustrated by the fact that robots, any time you want a robot to do anything slightly differently or like slightly new, it's a huge pain. It's just not easy to do at all. And because of AI, especially generative AI, for the first time, we're going to see things like that will be significantly easier, and uh, the robots basically will be way more accessible than the previous time, and a lot of industries is going to look different. Yep, and I would say that's around the time, and we want to be a part of it, or at least contributing to it or leading it. So we quit Google and started this.
I think from Nvidia, this is one of the most famous. I think
Hmm. Yep.
origin stories, like sitting in a diner and talking
Hmm.
about these kind of things, and
Yep.
but the actually part of having the guts to quit the job and
Hmm.
um, registering an entity and filling out all the
Hmm.
paperwork and looking how can I get money and how can I finance myself, or
Hmm.
what how will be the first few months, do I go to an accelerator program? Maybe you can take us through this journey, because I think there's a lot of I talk to a lot of founders, a lot of
Yeah.
pre-seed, seed, early robotics AI founders, and
Hmm.
those stories are fascinating for me. And then if you can give us some insights or some emotions, some
Hmm.
situations you can recall, that would be awesome.
Yeah, yeah. So like around the time, my co-founder actually quit Google first and actually got funded by a New York accelerator called BetaWorks.
Hmm.
It's a great one, and 500K. So and we chat about that. Then I also quit. So let's do it. Although I'm gonna take a significant pay cut, but I think let's give it a shot. And all ties back to like I always wanted to do this. So yeah,
So
that was like
so
March last year.
and what was the accelerator of? I mean, because when you said he quit and he got into the program,
Hmm. Yeah.
how did he prepare for that? And did you join his program or his startup then, or is that something that you did something else entirely afterwards?
Now we kind of like co-started this, but like he just randomly applied to that accelerator around the time,
Mm,
and we got funded, and then I also quit. So that's that's where the fun began.
mm. And as I said earlier, how did you decide on what kind of problems you will focusing on first? Because there's so many things, especially in robotics, that you could
Hmm.
tackle, right? They are unsolved or where there's a potential market. How did you
Hmm.
decide and how did you iterate? How did you came up with the things?
Yeah, like originally when we start, we want to actually make the tooling to do robotics easier with AI. And then soon we realized that because we got deep in relationship with we go deep into the industrial space, especially like with ABB as we go, and we realized that there's a huge gap in the industrial space, especially huge gap between the frontier AI research and what runs in production, and we want to fill that gap and make these robots way more usable by anyone compared to the past like decades. Although we've seen improvements in robots here and there over time, but still, robotics is the same thing for the past several decades. But now it's going to be different.
When you said that your friend was already very interested in robotics and you were also very interested in robotics, I
Hmm.
think just from my own experience, there's a huge gap in people who are in computer science or
Hmm.
yeah, in that space, and especially at Google, which is software only or the
Yep.
majority.
Yep.
And then the gap between not only robots, but
Hmm.
because there's robots and labs and scientific papers and
Yep.
theories and
Hmm.
ideas and models you work on, but then there's industrial robots. So how
Yes.
do those two worlds, how did you get in contact with that world, right? Because this is an ancient world and maybe not
Uh-huh.
something that is necessarily tied to some people working at Google.
Yeah, it's funny. Okay, so first, because we work at Google, we definitely take a software approach, and we think software is the is the best approach to basically change how robotic is done, and in a very scalable way. Uh, that's our focus. So we don't do hardware. And we started this. And it's funny, like ABB, they're the largest robot manufacturer out there. They had an AI startup challenge around the time. And I just like randomly applied to that challenge and we got in, and over a few months we ended up winning, and we see a lot of use cases and potential in the market, with the use cases with the customers, etc. And that kind of shaped how we like perceive the problem and like or how what kind of product we want to put out to the world.
So before I come back to a question,
Mhm.
what kind of product you would like to bring out to the world?
So basically, like I said, like every time you need a robot to do something different, something slightly new, it's a huge, huge pain. And no ordinary people can really use a robot. And it feels like robotics is like PCs in the 70s, or maybe even worse, actually. You have to like code every single action out for the robot to just do anything. And what's lacking is if say you have a robot there, someone without any expertise can just go talk to a robot, tell the robot what to do, or teach a robot to do something in a very natural way, like you would use a PC or phone today, and the robot can just run it by itself. Then this solves the accessibility problem. We'll see way more robots being deployed on a variety of use cases. Because in reality, uh, all the robotics automation, or most of it, are focused on like the basically repeating the same thing over and over again for years. Whenever things change, uh, basically in a frequently enough manner, it cannot be automated. So, but uh, over time, because AI and what we build, we'll see way more robots out there and being way more accessible.
I've been working with a few robot companies and for a few robot companies already, and
Hmm.
um, it is interesting to see people who are very good at coding
Hmm.
entering the world of robotics. And
Yes.
there's always some mechanical engineers involved and some people who
Hmm.
have that kind of expertise
Hmm.
because it's quite fairly, or the assumption is that this is how we're going to do things. And I know a few
Yep.
companies that are trying to be that middle layer, right, to
Hmm.
democratize robotics
Yep.
by different kind of teaching methods, by different kind
Hmm.
of you said, for example, like talking to a robot, so different kind of
Hmm.
programming approaches.
Yep.
But in reality, because there's a difference between a prototype, a demo, and then those
Hmm.
robots you were mentioning ABB, Fanuc, KUKA, Stäubli, all those robots. You're right. They're, I mean, it
Yep.
changes now as well. They're not as easy to program and to move, but they do a pretty good job and they're pretty precise, right? And
Yes.
trying to become a middle layer and trying to close that gap and making it more accessible seems easy from the idea, but I've seen it a few times now that
Hmm.
startups are underestimating the architecture that is behind that and the legacy and also um, the history
Hmm.
of models that you still need to support, as you said, for decades because they last pretty long, or they should, right? So
Yeah.
I've been working at Siemens, and I remember some robots or some machines had been in place
Hmm.
for 30 years, 40 years,
Yeah.
right? And it's not that easy to just plug in and some software and make them
Hmm.
work, right? The
Yeah.
There is no API that is except doesn't exist sometimes, right? And
Yep.
so really getting in contact. This is the reason why I was so interested in how you guys got in contact with ABB, because someone who works at
Hmm.
Google, it's not naturally the place where you find an ABB robot or Fanuc or KUKA or whatever,
Yep.
and the manufacturing side. So maybe you can elaborate a little bit on how, and here you can share as much as you like, how complicated it is actually, and how you really understood and see and put hands on the robot, because there's a lab and then
Hmm.
there's the
Yep.
reality deployment.
So, okay. So first, for the robots that are 30 years ago, 30 years old, we don't care about them. We cannot plug into them. They're too old, definitely. And they're doing the repeated job they're supposed to do anyway. So we don't really care, about those robots. I
Mhm.
would say the robots we care the most are the new robots being rolled out there, kind of helping or replacing human labor, uh, or can automate things that couldn't be automated in the past. I would say those are the more exciting things, and with newer robots and robotics. Well, there are definitely a lot of different type of robots, but there are only several major brands out there, say like ABB, KUKA, Fanuc, Yaskawa, etc. Um, so every single one of them has different interface for sure. But once we support, say ABB robot, we can plug into all types of ABB robot. It'll just work the same way. And we plug into other robot, and it'll also work with another brand of robot, also in a similar way. So that's kind of like how we are thinking about the architecture. It actually like works pretty well. It doesn't take us a lot of time to really support, say, for example, ABB robot.
How big is the team?
The team is currently is 4 people plus a chief of staff, 4 engineers and chief of staff.
Um, and here I'm just speaking from
Mhm.
my experience and what I've
Yes.
seen. The just onboarding one platform is
Hmm.
it can take because there's a difference between making the robot move and
Yes.
access the robot the way you could exit it from the teach pendant, right? From the
Hmm.
control
Hmm.
pendant.
Yeah.
So to really go into the depth of the capabilities of the robot, it can
Hmm.
take months and a team. So I'm quite interested in and I think we had talked about the
Yeah.
idea and the theory and the vision, but what does that mean concrete in what you guys are offering and what you guys are trying to solve?
So basically, we want to offer a software intelligence system that can be plugged into all kinds of robots. We're starting with industrial robot arm. That's where we see the most use cases and customer needs to enable anyone, like anyone in the factory floor, warehouse, to just tell the robot what to do. And historically, we've seen solutions where people are trying to make programming or make a robot work easier. But I would say some of them are 50% better or 2 times better, but we haven't seen anything 10 times better, something like fundamentally different or usable by anyone. And that's where we are building 10 times better.
Uh, so do you have except from ABB, do you have access to a few robots? Do you have a few robots in your lab? Do you have a lab?
Yes, yes. We have a lab in New York, and yes, we have ABB robot, U Factory. We are also integrating with Fanuc recently.
Nice, interesting. Would like to see some. Um, it's always this situation, and it's not only with you;
Hmm.
it's with a lot of people. Um,
Yes.
that especially people who use the robots, not necessarily
Hmm.
the people who build the robots or the companies, but the ones that are the customers of those
Yes.
robots, that are working together with startups. Because if you're so
Hmm.
early, I guess this is like pilot projects and POCs trying to
Yep.
get to understand better the needs and the use case that you guys are able to solve. It's very hard to actually get some footage on the
Hmm.
shop floor level because everyone is trying to figure out how to make things how to make things work, and no one would like to give away some insights for competitors. So it's
Yeah.
always like the sales cycle is a bit difficult because
Hmm.
you this is what I experience. So this is what we do, and we would like to sell you that. But can you
Yes.
show me what other people are doing with that? And I said I would like to, but they don't want to show. If I sell it to you, would you like to show? No, right? It's a bit tricky, and I'm happy to see what. Yeah, I mean, maybe you can tell us the like timeline and what's coming for you, right? So you're still pretty small. What are the next steps for your company?
Yes. So for us, we have a deep partnership with ABB, and we actually have a very large Fortune 500 CPG company customer in pilot. We just finished the last POC, and then we're in pilot,
Nice,
and
nice.
it's very exciting. It's a completely new way to do robotics, which has never been seen before, and probably sometime next year, it's going to be deployed in production floor, and it will be probably the world's first of its kind system to really for anyone to use robots. And we are very excited about that.
Uh,
AI, generative AI robotics.
and is that something because I think out of tactic reasons you're keeping yourself pretty vague.
Mhm.
Uh, can you say something
Mhm.
about the use case you guys are working on?
Oh yeah, definitely. I can. So basically, okay. One example is there are a lot of use cases we've been discussing. One initial one is the customer needs to pack different product every day into a tray, a display tray or shelf. Uh, The thing is that it changes too frequently. They have new combination, new variation every day, or even faster than that. So that's why it couldn't be automated in the past because you cannot just like keep hiring engineer coming here program robots every day. That's just not feasible, and that's why those tasks are all done by human. And it's quite labor intensive and boring. And customers want to automate that for a long time. But now finally, they're able to put robots there with our software, and for the factory operator, just tell a robot what to do every day. So today, your job is to pack this product, that product in whatever way, etc., and the robot can run it by itself.
So it's a software that is working through its speech.
Yes, yes, correct. Or type. It's basically natural language based.
Mm. So
Yeah.
there's no, because I think with the rise of cobots and here Universal Robots being one of the pioneers,
Hmm.
you saw an interface where you, and I mean there was some sessions on the academy, so
Hmm.
you don't need to pay 4 or 5K for a 2 day workshop to understand how you specifically use that time
Yep.
of teach pendant, and then there's a different kind of language or specific. More or less everyone could go online for free and look at, okay, so you need in a sequential way, you need to put on move from A to B and then
Hmm.
do picking or whatever, right? And you said,
Yes.
so what you guys are doing is you can just talk to the robot.
Yep, exactly. That's a problem, right? Like even though we cobots, great, easier to use for sure, but still, it's not easy at all from a like a ordinary person's perspective. Uh, you still need a lot of training and everything. And I have this like this chat with I remember a system integrator before where they have customer they visited the factory and just see a bunch of UR cobots lying there doing nothing because the task changed and the customer doesn't know how to deal with them, even though there's a simpler way to program them, but still it's not easy to do for anyone. And so instead of doing that, imagine you can have a robot just tell the robot, okay, today's your job is to do this, pick whatever product. Here's how you pick it from the side, etc., and how to like where to place it, how to place it, and the robot can just do that. Pretty much like the Iron Man. It's funny the robot army in Iron Man.
I mean, I think Iron Man is one of the most mentioned figures on the podcast that has been an inspiration, right? And it
Oh,
shows
oh, really?
that, yeah, and it shows how people really seeking easy solutions, like a
Hmm.
companion that you can talk to who is executing the things that you would like to be executed, right?
Yeah.
On a software level or on a physical level, right? And
Yeah, on a software level, we can kind of already achieve that Jarvis or Friday with well these large language models and with tool calls and with the different MCPs. With tools at hand, it can do all kinds of things for you. But in the physical world, it's still not there yet. But we're getting there.
And when you said that hopefully next year we will be able to deploy on a reproduction level. Until
Yes.
then, it's still quite a way, quite a way. And just for people and chief of staff, it's quite
Mhm.
ambitious. Are you guys planning to raise some money? Is that something that is also kind of coming natural because you are now getting
Mhm.
into the world of hardware, software, because you do
Yep.
need to have some robots. And tell me as much as you like or
Yeah,
you can.
definitely. So yes, so we just came out of Y Combinator earlier this 3 months ago actually, and we closed our seed round, and we'll announce our round in a bit. And this is good for us for a while. And our goal for the next milestone is to have this deployed um, in a repeated motion, uh, and then we can just like explode. So that's where we're headed.
I think it was just yesterday or the day before yesterday
Mhm.
that Brad Addock announced that they are now crossed 1 billion in funding for Figure.
Yes.
So this is the embodied AI that everyone, because you said you're focusing and concentrating on robot arms,
Mhm.
which is there's way more robot arms than other humanoids out there, right? And
Yes.
even though we
Yes.
hear Brett and Elon and other people talking about the number of deployed robots in this year or
Mhm.
next year, it's the robot arms will be yeah, I think that
Here,
the
here, yeah,
at least for quite a
I
while. Let's see.
yeah. So here's the thing. Uh, we've seen a lot of promises. Okay, we're gonna have this much of humanoids being deployed. We'll have that much of a humanoid being deployed. Until now, it's near zero, and that's the thing. And we actually want to take it the practical way. We want to have something really working deployed out there with very reliable hardware, say robot arm. It actually can do a lot. The world is way less automated than we thought. A lot of things are still done by human. Uh, we don't have to like shoot for the moon before we can even like do the simple thing. So that's like our kind of thesis, and that's also how we design our system to actually work reliably today to be deployed.
People are making fun about the demos that you see out there, right? As
Hmm.
from the humanoid robots, and I think Figure is
Yes.
really trying to show some snippets and behind the scenes because especially their videos are always very polished and everything
Hmm.
is looks very smooth and simple. A couple of weeks ago, the 1 hour video came out uncut, right? And
Yes. Yes.
what's your thought on demos and when do we see demos from you guys?
A couple of things. So first, demo is like we've seen a lot of demos, a lot of all kinds of demo. But when we go into production, we rarely see those demo being deployed or working because like it's funny. I don't want to say bad things about like people, but for example, there's company that's been pushing demos for like decades, but we rarely see anything from them being deployed. And and that's a common theme in robotics that basically the more important thing is to have something working reliably and can be deployed. And yes, we will have demo pushed out very soon. And more importantly, it's not just a demo. It's actually can work in production.
Um, when I talk to founders regarding the, I mean,
Hmm.
raising phase or
Yep.
getting customers,
Hmm.
and it's always like I said, it's all right if there's a delta between
Hmm.
what's the vision and what's working, right?
Yep.
Because in sales, and this not only applies to tech, this applies to every single industry out there.
Hmm.
But the delta cannot be too big, right?
Yeah,
Because
for sure.
so it's not wrong to that there is one, and especially people in deep tech, the
Hmm.
majority of people have a deep technical expertise, are engineers feeling very, very uncomfortable
Hmm.
that there is one at all, right? But if you're in sales and if you would like your company to survive, you need to have one, right? You do need to be able to transfer and to sell not the dream or the vision, but what will be there in a couple of weeks or month, right?
Yep.
Stay very transparent. It will help you in the long term. One advice, but
Hmm.
the part of
Yes.
getting to that point in time is hard. Is hard enough, right?
Yes.
So you should try not everything that is possible, but you should use whatever is there for you in an ethical way. I'm
Definitely.
happy to see some demos in the upcoming time. I'm very happy that you said yes to the podcast,
Hmm.
and I hope that when there's announcement time, you will think of me, and I will be able to maybe to support you or uh,
Absolutely.
to work together on getting the word out because there's still so many things that needs to be solved, and as we said with risk, right? You do need to take some risks, and that means there will be a lot of companies that will not make it. But if we're not trying, we have no chance of succeeding.
Yep. Exactly.
Mm. All right. The announcement will happen through your official channels. I'm looking out for a sneak peek earlier on,
Hmm.
and other than that, say hi to your co-founder, and
Yes.
I'm looking forward to the demo videos, and also the what I like is the kind of
Hmm.
uh, like it seemed not. you said it a few times that things are coming natural to you. I think I like the
Mhm.
confidence that comes with decision making, and there's a lot of struggle involved. And from the outside, it seems very easy. And I think you have the presence of a very calm person, but I can just assume that underneath there was a few hard moments, and it was nice that you took us to some of those situations with you because I think there is something to learn from it, and yeah, I'm
Yeah.
very thankful for that.
All right. Thanks for having me. This is great. This is fun.
Take care and talk to you soon.
All right. Cool.
Bye bye.
Bye.